Tall Tales, Tru Tall Tales, Tru Tall Tales, Tru Tall Tales. Come along and tell your friends, and stick around till the story ends. It's Tru Tall Tales. Yeah, I said it's Tru Tall Tales. Tru Tall Tales, Tru Tall Tales, Tru Tall Tales, yeah! Yeah! Tru Tall Tales, yeah! Yeah! Tru Tall Tales, yeah, it's Tru Tall Tales, Tales, Tales. Yeah, Tru Tall Tales. Ha.
This is a Tru Inferno explosion.
That's the Tru Inferno. Back at it with another Black Ops 2 commentary video for you, the YouTube citizens, and we are continuing where we left off last week with Tru Tall Tales Episode 2, the continuation from last week's story, which was about Mike James, the NBA basketball player who is currently now in the free agency. So anywho, let me recap what I told y'all last week. So there's this NBA basketball player by the name of Mike James, who in 2004 was traded to the Detroit Pistons alongside with that Rasheed Wallace trade, and at the same time, at the exact same time, like in January, early February, whenever that went down, Dave Chappelle came out with that Charlie Murphy True Hollywood Stories, the first episode being that Rick James, bitch, and then because of that, mixing it up with Mike James and all the good things he was doing for us, the city of Detroit on the court, we started giving him the nickname or the persona or the saying, we was whatever. We just basically would scream out, "That's Mike James, bitch!" every time Mike James does something good. And what happened was, me and my boys was in the club, we was doing our thing, fooling around, then all of a sudden, Mike James entered the club and I pointed him out. So now we continuing from that point right there. So that's where we left off. So let's get straight into it. Alright, so I spotted him, so now everybody heard me say, "That's Mike James, bitch!" So everybody turned and looked and saw that it was actually Mike James. So he came over because I don't know how he did it, but he heard me say it. Like, I guess because the fact I pointed, my eyes lit up and I just pointed at him, I guess he saw that and whatever. So he walked up, was like, "Yo, what's up?" And you know, so I'm like, "Hey, yo, what's up, man?" So we talking, we fooling. He just walking the dance floor. There was a path clear for him, you know, like he was like Dwayne Johnson or Ludacris or somebody big or something like that. I don't know. So anywho, so we talking or whatever. Then he said he about to go to his VIP, you know, cause he had a VIP spot reserved for him. So, and for some odd reason, he was only there with 2 of his boys. So he invited me, the 6 of my boys, and all 9 of these chicks that we were dancing on into his VIP area. So we was like, cool. So we went over there, you know, we kicking in VIP, all the ladies over here, and we got all the champagne and stuff like that. We fooling, we living it up. Right? So then we saw these 3 chicks walking by looking at Mike James, and he invited them in. He acting like Mike James was acting like, to be honest with you, he was acting like Rick James. Like, how crap you not? So, like, one of the chicks was to be like, "Man, look at this scrawny, bald-head looking motherfucker." And we be like, "Hey, bitch, do you not know who this is? This Mike James, bitch." And they changed that tune real quick as soon as they hear me saying that. Like, "For real? That's Mike James?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's Mike James, bitch." Oh man, and they want to get VIP so bad, but because they changed their tune and they actually was fine, we let them in. So it was hilarious. So now, this, like I said, dude, Mike James was acting like Rick James. So he had, I think he had like, yeah, he had 2 girls on his lap, and the third girl that was with them was on my lap. Not to mention the chick who I was dancing with was on my other lap. So I had 2 girls on my lap, Mike James had 2 girls in his lap, and we fooling it up. We drinking champagne. So then he asked me the question of, where this whole Mike James bitch come from? This whole thing come from? Because apparently here a lot of people say right, he was on the court or whatever. So I told him about the whole, Dave Chappelle came out with that Mike James bitch thing, and the same time he was traded to Detroit or whatever. So he's like, oh, okay, that's cool. So we became cool after that. Now it's funny because there was a lot of envious cats just eyeing us, like they was jealous of us because we was in the VIP spot. We have all the champagne, all the women. We were with Mike James, who was a celebrity in Detroit. It was crazy, but they couldn't do nothing about it. Not even once the club ended, because it like the guys who would be eyeing us, be looking all envious and jealous stuff. It would only be like 3-4 of them to a group, where it was freaking 7 of us. So if they try to do something, they would go straight up get their asses ripped. It was that simple. So after that, things got better. So Mike James, actually me and him became cool. We exchanged phone numbers. He been hooking me up to Pistons tickets, and I'm like, bet. So I remember one time, and not just any Pistons, we talking like good seats. So one time I'm sitting behind the Pistons bench. I forgot who they were playing against. And Mike James was on the court. Now, Rasheed Rollins was on the bench, so he's sitting right in front of me. Now, we're not allowed to touch the players. We can say some things to them and talk to them, but we can't touch them unless they let us touch them, like they give us a high five or something like that or whatever. So then Mike James does something good, and you know me, I bust out with that. That's Mike James, bitch! And Rasheed bust out, whoa! He just started laughing. He just gave me that because of him. It was funny. It was hilarious. I remember another time, I was sitting behind the visiting bench. So, matter of fact, the New York Knicks was in town, and they had, it was Stephon Marbury. Either he was on the Knicks or another team, but Stephon Marbury was there. So, I'm standing behind him, and once again, Mike James on the court doing his thing, and once again, I screamed out, "That's Mike James, bitch!" And he wanted to laugh, like, he had this reaction where he held his head down, his shoulders was like chucking up and down, like he was snickering, like he didn't want to bust out laughing, but I knew he wanted to laugh. That's why I was laughing loud as heck, cause I knew he wanted to laugh. So anywho, so after I kept going to the games or whatever. Whether, me and my mom got tickets or Mike James would hook me up with tickets. He even let me in the locker room one time. So I actually got to know that 2004 Detroit Pistons squad. Well, not new, but I hung out with them. So, as the year went on, the playoffs happened, and, the Pistons found themselves in the NBA championship, and they won it. So, yeah, But that's not where it ends there. So basically what happens is, obviously, when your team win an not NBA championship, but a major championship, you have a parade. So, because of my ties with Mike James, I was in the parade. So, after the parade, there was, they gave their speech down, and the parade took place downtown Detroit. So after that, they gave their little speeches at downtown Detroit or whatever. Then after that, it was another celebration at the Palace on Auburn Hills. So we left downtown Detroit, went all the way down to Auburn Hills. I was in the locker room kicking up with the guys, and then I went out into the stands or whatever. Now keep in mind, this little celebration at the Palace was free, and it was packed. Like cats, like all the seats were filled up. Cats were sitting on the steps or whatever. So finally, what happened in this celebration was all the players got on the court, on this little stage on the court, and gave a speech about their experience playing for Detroit, playing on the team that won the championship. So for whatnot. So Mike James got on the court, he did his thing or whatever, and then I crap you not. He was like, oh, in the close, and for those of you who watched the Chappelle show, the whole place was down rolling. It was funny because my mom was like, wait, what? What's this Chappelle show? I was cracking up. To this day, she still don't know what that is. And a few cats were still screaming, that's my James, bitch. It was hilarious. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this edition of Tru Tall Tales. This is the dude Jay Gatsby saying peace out, y'all. And watch out for my James, bitch.
It's a crime.